Well, hello everyone. How we doing? Warren, it's cold in there, isn't it? Feel a little colder than usual, or maybe I'm just not used to being in a rink, but so warming up in here a little.
So it's 5:20. We got to be on alert the rest of the night. Or are you
Well, we still, we're open to anything still, obviously, but still some conversations about things. But we feel really good about the way the day's played out. We came into today. Well, actually, yesterday it started with re-signing Vinny. Felt like that was a really big one for us. But we had a plan coming into this last second phase of the off season after the draft, and feel really strongly that the staff did a great job and we were executing on the plan. So feel really good about yesterday, and then really really good about today.
Eric Conley quietly had a very good season last year. So what intrigued you about that you bring them into it?
Yeah, so we did a lot of work with the staff on Eric, just preparing. And what was interesting about the way the process played out was, the scouting staff, our goaltender coaches, and Sam Ventura and his crew really were aligned on this player and felt that he's one of these players that we feel has the opportunity to take the next step. He's very talented. He has a strong, from a numbers perspective, profile and body of work of what he's done, through the American League, and then his opportunity that when he has played in the NHL, he just hasn't had a ton of opportunity. But for me, this was a goaltender that we feel that is right there on the cusp of taking that step, and that's why he was our guy we were going to target. Obviously we went through different scenarios, as I said to you guys over the last few weeks, prioritizing different things and how we make it work and balance it all. But we just felt that there were other guys out there that kind of I don't want to say where they're at in their career or kind of what you're getting exactly. Here we feel strongly we're getting a really good goaltender, but we see upside in, see a player that wants this opportunity, wants the chance to run with it, and high character. I mean, all the due diligence you do behind the scenes, checking on player that, like, high character, really well liked by his teammates, wanted to be here. That's a big deal. Looked at this organization as one that he wanted to be part of, and I just I get excited when I hear that from not just him but from the agent this afternoon.
Kevyn, signing two goaltenders, what does that mean for training? Is there, if you're Luukkonen, can you still win a job, or is he starting in Rochester?
Well, I had a really good talk with UPL this afternoon. I called him after we signed Comrie because I just wanted to make sure that he understood that we believe in him and we see him as a very good NHL goaltender and playing for the Buffalo Sabres. But what we don't need to do is rush him. And we want to see him continue to get ice time, continue to get his starts, continue to get the reps he needs. And he's had some injuries. He's had to miss some time. So we just want to, when it's the right time, it's the right time, and not force anything. And so he heard it directly from me today that we believe in him. And we'll see how it shakes out this year. Does he end up playing some games? Maybe he does, but for me, it's really less about that. It's just more about him getting those reps. So then, when it is time in Buffalo, he's really ready.
Did you guys see Lyubushkin as a nice complement to the other skill sets you have on that back end?
Yeah, so we did, and we were targeting goaltender and targeting right shot defenseman, and you never know how the things are going to go when it comes to free agency, but we really felt that Ilya, his skill set kind of fit in with what we were looking for, which was he plays a hard game. He's a bigger guy. He's solid. He can kill penalties. He could play kind of any type of player. We just really felt that with the D that we have and the young D that we have and the skill that we have, he'd be a good fit. And here's another guy that I loved my conversation this afternoon with his agent, with him before he ended up, when we signed him, that he looked at our team and thought, I think this is a good fit for me, and I want to be part of this. And he had heard great things about Donnie and the coaching staff, and that's really important in this league when you can get players when it comes time to free agency that believe in what you're doing and they want to be part of it. So yeah, we were very excited.
What do you see for Zemgus? Do you see him as a centerman this year, or are you looking for a centerman and maybe keeping him on the wing?
Well, it's a great question, Paul, because it's something we spent a lot of time on, even just these last few days leading up to free agency with Donnie and the coaching staff sitting in the boardroom upstairs with me and the staff talking about that, because Vinny's not a center, but really like what Vinny brings and his game and his compete and his pace and the way he fits in our locker room and just everything about him. But if we absolutely had to have a center, then, that was going to be, okay, how are we going to figure this out? And we still would have gone and tried to sign Vinny. Just, what else could we do? Donnie's very comfortable with Zemgus, both at center and wing. Thinks it's fine. We'll figure that, piece out. But I just think, and even, not that he'll play center for us, but even a guy like Rasmus Asplund he played center growing up. And, so we'll see how that shakes out. But I do think it was important to be able to get Vinny, and especially that another guy that we know what we're getting and know he wants to be here and he believes in what we're doing. And so that was our mindset there.
Kevin, you articulated your plan on many occasions. I think we all know what it is. When you look at what's going on today elsewhere, especially with Detroit and Ottawa in your division, is that kind of what they did in the last couple of days, kind of where you want to be a year from now, to be in that position?
Well, I think you pay attention to what happens around the league. Obviously, you pay attention to what other teams are doing, but ultimately, we don't worry about that, and we don't worry about what other teams are doing. We have a plan, and we're going to stick to it. And we felt very strongly, a year ago, if we back up a year ago, that we had to make sure that we were going to, put ourselves in a position where we were going to identify a young core and really let them develop and grow and learn. And we took steps this year for that. Now you fast forward to this summer, and a key piece of this for me is to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help our own players get better and make sure that we rounded it out with the right type of people at the key positions that we targeted today. So, what other teams do or how they do it, everybody's in a different spot. But I think for us, we believe in this team. We believe in the players we have here. And we want to make sure, as I've said to you before, we want to make sure that we don't, get in the way of some of our own players' development. And I think you can do that on a day like this. And you can also do that where maybe it's going to help you a little bit in the short term, but maybe potentially a few years down the road, you're not feeling as great about it. So that's why we were, you've heard me say this a million times, we had to be so disciplined today that we stick to our plan and we executed it. So I'm really proud of the staff. They worked extremely hard getting ready for today, and it's nice to have it come together.
But given all that, what is your reaction to two teams ostensibly you're competing with in your division making those kind of major moves?
Well, they're good players. They got good players. So I guess, this league's competitive, and if that's where they felt they needed to make the moves, they're both great general managers and smart guys. So, but I honestly, Mike, I don't really think that much about it. I think so much about our team, and I think about what Donnie and I especially talk about every day is where are our players at right now? How do we get them better? And we believe that we're going to take steps as a team if we do it with this group we have, and then how do we support them? And that's why we made the decisions we made today.
Was a big piece of your plan for today to make sure that you don't block a path for Paterka and Quinn to be able to compete for spots in camp?
Yeah, I think what you want to be mindful of in these types of situations is you want to balance not rushing players, as we just talked about, versus when they deserve an opportunity, making sure there is an opportunity there for them, because it's easy to say, hey, when a guy's ready, we're going to have an opportunity. But if you don't have the spots, you don't have the spots. So we thought a lot about that. Young players have their ups and downs, and everything's got to be earned. But we wanted to make sure that we create the right pathway for the players you mentioned, and then we have to make sure that we have the depth around it too. Because one of the things today that maybe I just want to make sure that you guys know and the fans know is the signings that, especially in the defense, the defensemen, the two-way signings we did, they're really important because these are guys that we targeted that we feel can play in the National Hockey League. And with injuries and over the course of a season, you need depth. You might use 9, 10, 11 defensemen. So those are players that Jeremiah, Crow and Sam Ventura spent a lot of time working together on that we felt like could play if needed and actually have the chance to get better and better. So that is a really important part of today as well, why I feel good about how the day went.
In the first session, did you enjoy watching that goaltending, especially since one of them didn't have his own equipment?
Yeah, they're pretty talented kids, although I did say to Seth at the end of the practice, I think they both might puke right now. They looked like some of the drills they were doing. They're tired, but there's a lot of talent on the ice in these 2 sessions. I mean, it's fun for me. It's 3 years not having development camp and then just being able to sit there today and just, watch these guys and think about the last, 2+ years since I've been in the job and the work that our staff's done. And now you can see it and you feel it. And we're excited about what's building.
Will Savoy be able to get on the ice at all, or is his shoulder just not going to allow him?
Yeah, we knew that he obviously finished the playoffs with an injury. We had done all our due diligence before we drafted him, and he's good. I think he's chomping right now at the bit to play, to be out there. But our doctors just, he's still not quite 100%, and we just, it's July, so we just want to be smart with him.
We saw Kisikoff posting in Montreal. What was the status of him getting here?
He's getting closer. He's getting closer. Canada's closer than where he was before. I give this kid so much credit. I mean, he wants to be here so bad. He's, doing everything he can. He's waiting on paperwork, and he had to get to there and Ottawa, and he's got to spend a few days in Ottawa. But all indications are that he will be able to be allowed in the U.S. and fairly soon. I don't think it'll happen in the next few days for development camp, but I'm proud of the way that kid's handled himself, and I'm certainly hope that you see him at the training camp.
Why is Cedar Quest not on the roster? Was there a reason why?
Yeah, there was some immigration stuff going on with a few different players, so I have to check with our guys, but I think that he fell into that category. There's Cole Burkholder's got a lot going on with Mark Jakubowski when it comes to some of this immigration, and then other players got here, equipment didn't get here. But we're here. So
With some of your other Russian draft picks, is it immigration stuff that they haven't?
yeah, it's just not being able to, where they are in their own team's contracts or whatever, that type of stuff. It's what you deal with, especially when they're coming from Europe.
You mentioned talking to Luukkonen. Are you having similar conversations with Quinn and Peterka, though? Because there are a lot of forwards there that were on the team last year, so it's not necessarily open spots available.
No, and we don't, and we want, internal competition is really important. The way I look at it is depth is critical because, over the course of 82 games, you need depth. Well, then your roster for opening night, you want competition. You don't want, especially for younger players, things to just be rolled out and, hey, I'm here. You want to earn. Certainly the seasons that those 2 players had, they put themselves in a position that they're in a great spot. But they know they're hungry kids. They know they want to just keep getting better. And my message last night, to the entire group, and as we met and all the staff, is that just get better every day. Just put the work in. Just have a love and passion for the game and figure out ways to get better, because those are the ones that end up finding a way to the National Hockey League. So, and those 2 especially know that. They did it all year.
Is there any update on Lawrence Pilot?
So it's, I don't want to bore you guys, but basically you have to have proof of the contract being voided. And there has been a document that's been produced. Now there's conversations with the NHLPA and the NHL that are going on to make sure that it's valid. And I'll bring Mark Jakubowski up here next time to do this press conference. But the takeaway, Duffer, is we'd love to have him and we'd love to sign him, and we just need to make sure it's it's all above board and clean, and then we will do it.
Do you have more to do whenever the pilot deal gets done, do you feel you have enough, or how much more do you have to do organizationally to help Rochester round out their group?
Not a lot. You know, we feel those signings were key that I already touched on. You know, a couple of little things that we're still working on, but overall, you know, we put up on the whiteboard and, you know, outside my office there, kind of as the day starts, you know, where everybody's slotted and what's going on, and it gets really fun when you write the name in, you know, in different color. That means they're signed and on our team and all the way through our roster. So no, we feel pretty good. I'm sure there'll be some little things here or there, but pretty good about where we're at.
Kevin, circling back to that, I know you said internally you guys were really aligned on where Connery stood. Was he a primary target for you going into this the whole time, or does that change as the free agency boards fill?
No, that was our guy we were going to target. You know, I obviously, you guys know, and I've mentioned this before. You look at everything. You look at teams. You look at trade options, and you know in the UFA market that nothing's guaranteed. But you know, when we felt that all of it aligned, and I'm trying to process of the last few days of how we were going about it, that Eric quickly rose to the top of the list for us, that this is the guy we want. And we, you know, went aggressively at him. And, you know, what you don't know is when you're free agency that there's how many other teams are involved, and that's why I haven't slept a lot in the last few nights. But, you know, once I, you know, really had a good conversation with him and his agent, and it felt like it was reciprocated that this is a place that he targeted. This is an opportunity that he was excited about. You know, that deal came together quickly.
Kevin, the job
Take one
is
more.
always to be ahead of the game, though, and you're in a season and you're projecting who's not going to have a contract at the end of the year. Did Eric's name ever come up internally, recognizing that it might not be the, you know, best year to be looking for goaltending in the summer, you know, based on lack of availability?
So you mean came up like
Yeah, like over the course of the last
oh
year, like,
oh yeah, no. This is, yeah, like a lot. You know, something we've talked about for months and months and months, because you go back to during the year. I mean, even when you're having just a normal discussion with a team, or you're at the trade deadline, you know, something you do or a move you make may impact what you can do, you know, in the summer. So we've been talking about him in particular for, you know, a long time. And as we started to work our way through the off season and really dug deeper and deeper, you know, I started to really get excited if there was an opportunity. And again, what you don't know is how he feels, you know, so that's the anxiety of it. But when that all lines up, and we added 2 phenomenal people to our organization today, and you know, when you talk to other players that have played with them and the reputations they have and the teammates that they are, that's what you guys know. That's what we're building here, and that'll fit right in with what you know this group already has. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
You too.